Welcome back to another beginner-friendly acrylic painting. Today we're going to do some lovely trees in the Fauve style. So let's get started. We're using our same three colors that we always use: benzimidazolone yellow, phthalo blue, green shade, and quinacridone magenta. We'll have some titanium white as well. If you're working in a dry region and your paint dries up really fast, you may want a little gloss glazing liquid. I'm going to put just a dab of that out in case I need it. That will keep your paint from drying out too fast. Let's start with a soft sky in kind of a pale pink. So I'm going to take a little titanium white, a little glazing liquid, and a little quin magenta, and just lay down a soft pink sky. Since we're painting in the Fauve tradition, we're going to be using really bright, bold colors. So keep that in mind. And let's get a little bit more paint on there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now let's start with a landscape. We'll have a couple of nice mountains back here. And I'll pick up a little blue, a little my phthalo blue, some glazing liquid, a little bit of glazing liquid. I'm going to put that down first. Wipe my brush to make sure I don't have too much paint on my brush. I'm painting a little drier than usual. Sometimes I paint alla prima, which is wet into wet. And this time I'm going to paint a little drier, so things will dry a little quicker. I want to soften those a little bit. As things recede in the distance, they tend to get a little softer. The colors are less saturated, the edges are a little softer of things as they go away from us. There we go. Let's just bring that down a little bit more. Getting lighter down here, a little titanium white. Now as we get down here, let's add a little of the yellow to our paint so that our land in the foreground is going to be a little greener. It's going to be a little more saturated. A little titanium white there. A little more yellow. Just keep building that with the titanium white and the yellow. You'll have a little bit of blue on your brush, and that should be plenty. You don't need any more than that. And you'll notice that I have not put my brush in the water, or have I washed it. I like to paint with a dry brush. Let's get a little bit more yellow here. I'm going to come right here. A little titanium white. Just want to make sure I'm getting that coverage there. I don't want any blank canvas or any thin paint. I do want the paint to dry pretty quickly, but I do want to make sure I have enough paint on the canvas. Let's have a little bit more yellow here. Okay, just some really soft hills. Now for the star of the show. Let's have some lovely trees. I'm going to put my number 12 brush, is what I was using. I'm going to put that in the water. And I'm going to go to my number 6, which will give me a nice fine line. And I'm going to take my number 6 and put it in the quin magenta. And that's why I love these brushes so much, because they come to a nice point. They hold a really nice point. So we're going to have a cluster of really kind of thin trees here. So we want a nice thin point with our brush. So I'm going to start here and come down like so. I have several of these here. They're all about the same size. Maybe we'll have one that goes off a little bit to the side. And then maybe one more here. Okay, now those are our tree trunks. While those are drying, we're going to build up some foliage in the front here. I've got pink on my, or magenta on my brush, so I'm going to go into the yellow. And make kind of a dark yellow, kind of an orange. We're just going to come here and build up some foliage here. Now remember, we're painting like the Fauves, so things are going to be bold colors, really different than what you might see in nature. Just build that up. A little bit more Queen Magenta here. Some yellow. And then we'll have a little bit of that over here as well. Just building up some foliage in front of those trees. Keep it simple. Doesn't have to be too fussy, doesn't have to be too complicated. Tiny bit of titanium white there, just make a little bit of value shift. Over here as well. Those bright colors that the Fauves love to use. Okay. Great. Looks like we've got a pretty good setup here for our foliage in the front. Okay. Now, let's work on our trees. And we're going to have some blue foliage in our trees, some pretty fun foliage there. Before we do that, I forgot to do a couple of things here with our trees. I wanted to make sure we had some limbs. So just with a really light touch, barely touching the canvas, just barely touching the canvas, really small lines for those limbs. And maybe we'll have a couple down here. Or just a little bit of foliage might be later. Okay, that's enough. Don't overdo it. Now for our trees, we're going to go into the phthalo blue with our fan brush and pounce that off. Make sure it's not too wet. Okay, I want it a little bit dry, and start small or start sparse. You can always come back and add more, but if you put too much in, it's really hard to take it out. So just start with a few at first. Just pounce with that fan brush. Just pouncing. Just keep building it up. Moving those bristles around in different ways. Keeping your brush kind of dry too. Now let's take a look at what we've got. We need just a tiny bit more here. And that's why I say you want to sneak up on this. You don't want to start out with it really heavy. Start out sparse. You can always come back later and add more. But you do want to see a little bit of that sky between the leaves. Okay. All right, well, let's let that be for a while and see if we like it. I'm going to take the edge of my fan brush, just the edge of it. I'm going to hit a couple of these little guys here. Don't overdo it. There. Don't need much. Okay, now we're going to take the blue that's on our brush, go right into the blue, and we're going to come back into this area that we did earlier. And you may be thinking, why are we repainting this? Well, we want this area to look like it's in shadow, and so we laid down the foundation for that. Now we'll come back with our blue and we'll lay it down here. And again, same thing applies. Start with a little bit. You can always come back later. Don't overdo it. Keep it fairly dry. But see, if we were trying to do this on just white canvas, it wouldn't look that great. So it's really important that you do that background painting. So it really builds up that idea that this is in the shadow, maybe under the trees kind of thing. So now we've got some really nice foliage there under our trees. Let's go with our fan brush with the blue on it, and let's just go into the white, tap it off, make sure you don't have too much paint on there. And just come on the top, give it a little bit of color here and there. So we've got a little bit of color there. Make sure you don't have too much on your brush. And now we're just going to hit a few of our trees, not too many, up towards the top. So we've got a really nice definition in our trees, a little bit more white. Okay, got a really good section of trees going there. Now let's come back to our tree trunks and just reiterate them a little bit. We're going to go to our number 6, grab a little of that Quin Magenta, a tiny touch of that Titanium White, and just come back in and reiterate those tree trunks just a little bit. That one got a little bit out of control there. I need a little more Quin Magenta for that guy. Just beef them up a little bit. Quin Magenta does the trick. It is a transparent pigment though, so if you just leave it with one layer, chances are it's not going to be opaque enough. So sometimes you will need to come back and touch up anything that you did with Quin Magenta because it's so transparent. Just give it another coat. And again, that's why these brushes are so great, because you get a really good control with the brush. Okay, well that didn't take us very long. That's just a sweet little painting in the Fauve style with those great colors that the Fauves love to use. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscription, hit the notification bell, give it a like, and remember what I always say, keep painting.